Hello, good morning, everybody.
Hello.
We are Gemma and Cornelio Antoni Roig from the UOC Research Group, and we will be talking about the project Selfie Stories and Personal Data, which is funded by the BBVA Foundation, and it's about to finish in 3 weeks. So the project is about selfies and stories.
Okay, Gemma, you're right, but the audience may think that we are going to talk about Kim Kardashian or people taking selfies at funerals and all that boring stuff.
Oh yes, it's really difficult to be innovative with selfies, but let's try with a provocative question, like maybe this one.
Well,
is that too much? Or just maybe we can consider that selfies are not so important? The important things are stories. I think we can explain that.
Yeah, that's right. At least at the beginning of the project, I was wondering about selfies and how they attract so much attention related if we compare to other practices in social media, like much more important, like, for example, sharing a picture of cats or memes or whatever.
Yes, there are some reasons for that. We have heard and read a lot of news on selfies, relating them with narcissism, with young people's self-esteem, with abusive use of technologies, and consequently they are related to moral panics.
Yeah, but this is also true, it's partly right, but it's also true that there are other more positive readings coming particularly from a cultural studies perspective that consider that selfies can be liberating, can be used, for example, for social causes, and can enhance the feeling of self-identity. There are other applications of selfies, for example, from a quantitative perspective, from a database perspective, for example, in order to combine the pictures and compare it to the places which they have been taken, for example.
Yes, but there is something still missing in these approaches, because they consider selfies as self-contained objects, and they many times detach selfies from other practices of sharing contents on the internet. So, in other words, users publish different kinds of contents in different platforms that make sense as a whole.
Okay, Gemma, you're right, but are really selfies that widespread? Are we taking that amount of selfies, really?
And the answer here is depending on the context. And we use the notion of context, in a wide sense, including both technological and discursive aspects. And that means that we analyze not only pictures, but also hashtags, comments, etc.
Okay, let's provide an example.
Yeah.
Right, we have conducted 2 case studies in 2016. We worked at 2 events, the 2016 editions of the Primavera Sound Music Festival and the BCN Games World. Events were a great opportunity to work to combine quantitative and qualitative approach too. So for the quantitative approach, we developed a structure, a scraper based on the Instagram API, and in this way we obtain data from the official hashtags from the events. At the same time, we combined this approach with a fieldwork conducted on site through interviews and participant observation. If we look at the graphs, in these graphs we have visualized the types of pictures. So if we look at the left, at the Primavera Sound case, we will find that the predominant kind of picture belong to the facilities, that is the stage and the surroundings of the festival. And selfies, even if we consider both individual selfies or group selfies, amount only for a small part. It's at about, I think, 15.4%. So it was a little bit surprising for us at the beginning. On the contrary, on the BCN Games World event, we found more selfies than we expected. And in fact, if you look at the predominant type of picture here are portraits. So if we add selfies, here we have combined individual and group selfies that are about, I think, 17%. and portraits, we can find that more than half of the pictures taken at the Vision Games World Festival are human depictions. So, which is very important for us. On the qualitative aspect, we were very interested in knowing that our participants make sense of selfies in order to highlight the exceptionality of the moment. Put it in another way, to focus on the here and the now that is an event.
Yes, so in this sense, we can analyze selfies in the context of cultural events, like in these cases. Can you hear me better now? But we can also consider the individual user profiles as units of analysis. So in this regard, our suggestion is to understand selfies in this continuum and to understand which role selfies play within a personal narrative and within a personal storytelling. So we can see a second example. Yeah. Here we have two images from a user we've been following for more than 1 year. It's an Instagram profile. She is a midwife that lives in the United States, and we've been following we're doing an online ethnography on her account. So the first picture, it's a selfie that she took just after giving birth. And the image in itself is very powerful, because it shows a not very common image of maternity and the naked body of women. So this picture became very popular. That's why we found them. We found this user and follow her. The second image was posted a year after the previous. So the image in itself is not so self-explicative, let's say, but the story behind is overwhelming. When she posted in the caption, she explained, she shared the recent death of his mother. And that changed the topic of his storyline, because she always post on her personal and professional life, but after this, they followed two posts as sharing some traumatic experiences when she was a child. So, after these explanations, she returned to her topics. So, what is interesting in this case is that the second picture is not only involves a story in itself. It was a turning point in her personal storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a very good example of why we consider stories, because we stand that selfies are a very important part of the personal stories. And in fact, we can say that selfies are a sort of an excuse, an entry point in order to acquire a better understanding of the personal narrative. This is also true for many other life-changing cases, like, for example, related to health issues. This is another example related to the fight for overcoming anorexia.
Okay, so let's provide the last example.
Okay. Oh, Gemma, Kim Kardashian, I knew that you were going to
I'm sorry about that. I was secretly following her for the same period as the previous one. And I realized that she stopped posting on October, I think October 2016, and after that she reappeared, like posting very different kind of images, and she's not posting selfies anymore. So maybe it's time to turn to the first question.
Okay. Well, okay, Kardashian, okay. It will be probably superficial to state that selfies are dead because of Kardashian's activity, even if I acknowledge that Kim Kardashian is one of the most renowned celebrities of the selfie culture. I guess that she, in fact, is performing. She's acting like other users do, reacting like ashamed by the abuse of selfies. But then, just returning to the initial question, we can conclude that probably attention to selfies has been overestimated also in the academic field, if we consider them just as isolated objects or images. But if we also think that the normal socialization of the selfie practice is so widespread, maybe it doesn't make sense to use the selfie tag. So it's a difference between the selfie tag and the selfie practice. Mm-hmm. So Yeah, so, okay, we can say that selfies are dead as isolated research objects, but they're alive and well as social practices. So, as a conclusion, I know it is difficult to avoid the temptation of focusing on such attractive topics like selfie, but at the same time we have to overcome the hype and particularly take into account the context in which digital culture phenomena like selfies take place. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
And that's the team. We're also interdisciplinary team, let's say.
Thank you so much. You got 2 extra minutes because you worked too. Okay. So any questions? We have time for one question. One question?
It's a shared one.
Okay, good.
Well, first of all, thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. I was actually wondering 2 things. First, you were very pioneering in this selfie sort of research, and I was wondering what led you to pick up this topic among the many, many topics that you could have picked up as an interdisciplinary team. And second, I was wondering, not about Kim Kardashian, but about the midwife that you were describing. When you follow these people and analyze their pictures, do you also engage in dialogue with them? I mean, of course you ask for permission, but furthermore, do they take any active role in the analysis of their own production and stories?
Yes, and then another question, the third one, for the same team. So thank you very much for your presentation. It was very interesting. My question was more related in the decision about the events. So of course, you said cultural events are events that's supposed to be more interested to analyze this kind of research, selfies. But do you thought about the characteristics of the events, because and why you decide to go to these events, because they are really different. So music event or a game event like sport one would happen with other kind of events like, I don't know, beauty events or this kind of events that probably could be more different, the data that you get. Just about this. Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to ask to
the
answer
second one? Would you like to ask the second one, or?
Yeah, well, you can start. In fact, you are.
I will answer the first and she the second.
Yeah.
And he the second. Sorry. Actually, we are not pioneers. Maybe in the Spanish context we are, but there were some previous researches on selfies. The main or the most well known is the Manovich Selfie City, which is a very quantitative. He talks about cultural analytics, but actually it's just gathering images, classifying them from formal perspective and to just identifying where they are taken and that kind of things. So we had this perspective which was quite poor in our view, and then we had the more traditional cultural studies perspective, which is qualitative, in most predominantly qualitative, and we wanted to test a mixed methodology perspective. So that there's a methodological objective in the project. So selfies were interesting for us because we were previously studying identity. It's not really new for us. Many participants in the team have dealt with the topic from different perspectives, so we have a background on topics like body, gender, identity, from art, from a gender perspective, from photography. But we wanted to test this mixed methodology to test the limitations as well, and how we could combine it. And that was the first question, and the second one?
The second one was related to engaging with the...
Yes, we have been, in this particular case, I have contacted her. She was quite happy that I found her in this. She has become very popular in the last in the last time, and she has become more professional with her Instagram account. So, but yes, I have dealing with these ethical issues as well, and that's why I haven't tell her name. And I mean, the pictures are public because her account is public. Especially the previous, the first one was widespread, but I'm not revealing more details on her personal story, so yeah.
Yeah, I would like to add very quickly that, in fact, every member of the team, and I would like to thank the team. We have taken a very quick picture of, but every one of us has been selected user-centered case. And in all these cases, the engaging with the subjects have been very, very important. Not only to ask permission, but only to get in conversation, to interview them, and to know better what's behind the practice. For us, it's very, very important. And for the last one, going back to events, of course, for us it was very important trying to select. We have talked a lot about what kind of events, what were the difference, what we expected from them. In fact, for example, Primavera Sound, it was like a great opportunity because we had our extractor just up and running, and for us, a musical event, an open air event, a massive event in Barcelona was a great opportunity for us and a great way to test the methodology, this combination of fieldwork and analyzing and extracting data for, I think it was for 2 or 3 days in a row, which was a fantastic experience. And then we tried a different one. We tried a different one, a different kind of event. We didn't know much about it because it was the first edition of the BCN Game Worlds. But we have our preconception on whether people will be taking selfies there or not. So it was a very interesting in contrast to that. But events are very useful in order to combine the both approaches. But at the same time, we have been, it might seem that we are like using them as the same, but we are pretty sure that they are not. And it has been very beneficial for our research, I think.
Yes, the events, Tony has said.
To move on, okay, go. You guys come from communication, we can see that, but
okay.
Let's move.
Communicate very much.
Yeah, that's good. No, go ahead, finish.
Okay. No, that I lost my... events allow us to connect the structure and simultaneously to do field work. So that was one of the reasons why it was interesting for us. And also because of we could try different contexts, because our intuition is that, okay, we can, people take selfies in different contexts and it can vary on the situation, the moment. So that's, well, that was one choice. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.